Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about the Sig Sauer P320 Compact 9mm. This is the newer version of Sig's guns. The P320 line has grown into things like the M17, the M18, Legion, all sorts of fun stuff. And I wanted one of these guns for a while, so I picked one up to use a couple years back. And I've enjoyed shooting it quite a bit. Really like the look of it. This one is a little bit unique because one of the wonderful features of the P320 line is their modularity. And you can change out the grips on them. So when I bought it, it had just the original compact grip module on it. And there's nothing wrong with it. I added a Talon grip to it just because I wanted to add a little more grip to it. It was a little too slick. And I found it to be a little bit fat. So I swapped it to the P320 X-Carry frame. And on the back of these, at the bottom, it will show you an S, an M, or an L for the size of the grip module. I went with the medium, sticking with the grip module that I had already. The only thing with these older mags, and I believe they've updated them now, but these older mags have these lips on the side because on this frame there's the cutout for that magazine to fit into it. That way if you got an issue you can strip it out of there. The X-Carry frame does not have that, so I had to get a little creative with the Dremel and do a little home gunsmithing on it and open it up just a little bit so I can seat these mags properly. So that's kind of the fun side of it, a little custom gunsmith work on there, if you will. Beyond that, the features of the gun itself, it is 7.2 inches overall length, the height is 5.3 inches, the barrel is 3.9 inches, the weight of the gun is 25.8 ounces. It is a striker-fired gun. So that's the fun professional side of things. Now, personal side of it, it's got a nice beaver tail on it. The one thing people don't like about SIGs is the high bore axis. Just because I'm going to turn it towards the camera, mag out, chamber's empty. So, it does have a little bit of a high bore axis, and as you can see where your hands are, you're all the way down here, and the barrel's fairly high up. So, kind of the one complaint that people have with these things, and then some other stuff that's happened, but nice beaver tail on it. I like this X-Carry grip. I like the texturing on it. I like the undercut and the overall size of the trigger guard. It does have a rail up front for lights, lasers, etc. While we're talking about the grip, I should add that the safety is ambidextrous. You can swap it on either side. So currently I'm a right-handed shooter, so I have it set up on the left side, but all you need to do is depress the safety, and then there's a little hole in there. You stick like a punch or something like that, and then you can switch the safety to either side. And then the slide lock is ambidextrous on either side as well. So the magazine release is reversible. Slide lock is ambidextrous. Takedown lever is only on the left-hand side. It does have the night sights on it. So it's got the 3-dot night sights. It does have little serrations on the front and the rear, which are nice. You can do press jacks, reloads, that kind of stuff there, loads from there. And all in all, it's a solid little pistol. Trigger on it is an interesting thing. We'll take out the, once again, it's empty, but I'll show you again. So this is the post-recall trigger. This is not the OEM trigger. They did have the drop safety issues from the start. And I've talked to some SIG guys about it, and there's still people that argue that it's there. The SIG guys say it's fixed. I'm going to trust manufacturer. There's a lot of stuff there that you can go down the rabbit hole and online and just find out about, but don't drop the gun, maybe? I don't know. So this is the post-recall trigger. It is much thinner than the original gun, and that was what the recall is. The trigger was too heavy, so when they would fall, they would potentially let go of the internal safety mechanism. So thin trigger now, and it's an interesting trigger because it gets a little bit of play there to the wall, and then it's got a little bit of squeeze and a break. And it's not as crisp as it once was with the original trigger. It's a spongy noise and feel, but it's not a bad trigger. So like I said, your reset's there and a break. So it's an interesting trigger. I did use my Wheeler Tools pull gauge on the trigger just to see where it came in at, and it was about 6 pounds. So not, kind of middle of the pack. So when you bought the gun brand new, and they go for roughly $500, I did a little looking around online, you can still get them. Just the base 320 compact model is about $500. So it came with 2 magazines, and these 2 are what it came with, and these are made in Italy. They are 15 rounders, and what I did notice on earlier inspection, taking them apart, is that they just kind of have this plate up here, and like I said before, this is a used gun that was a rental gun. And I've had some issues with it feeding. I did replace the recoil spring in it, just hoping that would help. And it has for the most part, but I think what's interesting is these magazines. They're kind of weird and spongy. This magazine is a US built, newer magazine. It's much quieter, doesn't have that kink in there. And what's interesting about the mag is on the front of it, they made a little design update. Let's see if we can see out there, where it's got this little notch to fit the bottom plate in it. So you can see there's that little notch. The bottom fits in there. Kind of an interesting thing. I don't know if they had issues with them or what the reasoning was for that exactly. But I need to, in all honesty, I've got a decent collection of pistols, so I don't shoot. In all honesty, I've got a decent collection of pistols, and I don't get to shoot some of them as much as I should. So I have the 3 magazines for this guy, and I need to number them and see which one is my problem child. And I will roll in some footage of that right now of it jamming in the middle of a set, or a magazine. Oh, you motherfucker. It's had some issues here and there. The new recoil spring I put in it was a big upgrade, and it helped fix that thing so that I don't have as many issues with that. To take this gun down, lock it back, obviously magazine out, verify it's empty, slide this little lever here. Comes apart super easy. Recoil spring and guide rod, barrel, very simple. The fun thing about the SIGs, like we had talked about earlier, is the grip modules, and I'm going to struggle with this because I always do. But once it's in this condition, you can take the little pin up front, and that came out super easy this time. And you can pull out the whole fire control unit. This is your serialized portion of the firearm. So this is what is the serial number on there, and you can get a replacement one of these, or say another one of these from SIG and other places, usually between $299 and $349.99. So $300 to $350 for a new fire control unit, and then you can get different grips. Like this is my OEM one, and you just slide it in there, and it's back in place. Obviously, you put that pin back in there, you're good to go. Other companies do make them, so the OEM SIG ones here are $39.99. The X-Carry, X-Compact are $59.99. Wilson Combat makes one that looks pretty sexy, and a lot of people seem to like. That's $67.95. And then Icarus Precision makes a really nice aluminum one, but they're $400. Very expensive. Now, basically what I paid for the gun, being a used gun, I paid about $400. So yeah, like I said, I don't mind the OEM grip, but I kind of wanted the newer, the X-Carry. I thought was a cool look. I like the little thinner sides on it versus kind of the fat-sided original one, if you will. So yeah, super easy, super modular. It's a really cool benefit of these guns. There we go. So yeah, fire control unit is back in. But yeah, like I said, I've had issues with this gun. The recoil spring was a good, needed upgrade because I think the old one had just worn out. And like I said, I think kind of my issue are these older magazines. And the tough part about the SIGs is that their magazines are very expensive. A replacement one like this, made in the USA, the newer one that doesn't have the funny noises, is usually about $50. So they're not cheap by any means, and like I said, technically they don't fit this grip module, but a little bit of gunsmithing made it work. So overall thoughts of the gun, like I said, I really enjoy it. It's got night sights on it. It's just not a gun personally with me that I'm going to carry. Now, lots of other people have the Sig P320 and it's just fine. With the issues that I've had with mine, like I said, maybe it is just mag related, maybe it's not. I will not be carrying this gun as my personal concealed carry gun. I'll continue to carry my Glock 19, or I've got a holster coming for my 365 XL with a red dot. That's going to be my other carry guns, or that FNS 9C I did last week. So It's a fun range toy. I like it a lot. Currently, I wouldn't trust my life to it just because, like I said, I don't know if it's these old mags, and one of them makes noise. One of them was making noise earlier besides that horrendous noise. It did look like the springs were slightly different in these magazines as well compared to the new one. But yeah, that's a side note. So yeah, fun range toy. It's a solid shooting pistol. I really don't mind the high bore access. It fits my hand very well. I like the protected beaver tail. My hands fit well on it, and I can use the takedown lever as almost a gas pedal on the side of it. So it's a really cool pistol. I do have a Sig M17 as well, and I really like that gun. That one I may put a red dot on at some point, but that's a really solid pistol, and that one I have a little more faith in than this guy currently. Kind of my fault for buying a range rental gun. Now, it's some research that I probably should have done before I bought it, but I wouldn't mind buying another version of it or something, factory new, and just see what my thoughts and feelings are on that one as I use it, and hopefully it's got a little better than this one has, because honestly, before I replaced that recoil spring in this thing, I hated taking it to the range. It never worked right, and it was very frustrating, because really, I like the look of the 320. I think it's a super cool gun. I love the modularity of it. It's got cool, unique lines up on the slide. I thought it was a super sexy looking pistol. And obviously it hasn't deterred me because, like I said, I bought a 365 XL. I bought a Sig M17. I would like to buy an M18 at some point as well. So I enjoy my Sigs, and I will continue to shoot it and use it. Like I said, probably won't trust it to my life, or trust my life to it. But it's a fun range toy. I've just got enough other options for carry guns. So thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Comment down below if you've seen and if you've got experiences with these things or anything else. The other thing I want to touch on, just pay attention to legislation and the things going on in our government right now. We are seeing the assault weapons ban, which I've got my own thoughts on that, but we're seeing the assault weapons ban now move to the House floor. And this is July of 2022 if this gets watched in the future. But pay attention to legislation. Don't hesitate to reach out to your state representatives and state senators. I am going to be doing that myself, even though in Minnesota I kind of already know my voting likes of my representatives here. But I will still reach out, and I will continue to donate to organizations like Firearms Policy Coalition or Gun Owners of America. And something you should consider doing too, and just pay attention to legislation going on. If you have questions or concerns about that, places like Guns and Gadgets, Mr. Guns and Gear, Garand Thumb, and Brandon Herrera are guys that talk about it quite a bit. So those guys are all really good resources to kind of look at and just see. Guns and Gadgets does great. He's got between 3 and 6 videos a day just doing minor updates. So that's a guy to follow if you're curious and want to see somebody else on YouTube. But that's kind of my little soapboxes. Pay attention to legislation. The Second Amendment continues to need support, and I think it'll always kind of be that way. The most recent Supreme Court Bruin case is a big step, hopefully in the right direction, but we'll see with this assault weapons ban going through. So that's my soapbox. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate all the viewership we've had on these. Channel growth, I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing for such a new channel. So thank you all for that so much. We wouldn't be here without you. Looking forward to doing the next review, and if there's something you guys want to see, like I've said before, don't hesitate to drop it in the comments. We will do what we can with our funds, which is all self-funded. Otherwise, go to our Instagram, northwoods.nobodies, and give us a follow and see where we go from there.